Hey, what is going on, everybody? In today's video, I want to talk all about Moon Knight's event, which at least as of the release of this video, should be sometime today. The event was actually sprung on us a little bit in terms of the actual event tab, since we didn't actually know when it was coming, but now we do. I mean, since it was mentioned in the blog post, that gave us a bit of a heads up, but still would have been nice to know a few more days in advance when it was actually dropping. Something they should work on in the future, I think. Anyways, in the first half of this video, I'm going to be going over the Nocturnal trait, which is the limited time trait required for this event for the Blitz, Arena, and Raid portions of the Milestone, and going over the kind of characters you can use for this. And in the second half of the video, we're going to be going over my spreadsheets where I have done the math on the event, and it kind of gives us a glimpse of what you can expect in terms of shard outcome and what you need to do in order to clear this completely free to play. So without further ado, let's get this show started. And so to start off here, in case you haven't been paying attention, it is available in the event window here for the Moon Knight event called New Moon. This showed up on Wednesday as of the store reset time. We saw this here, and if you actually click the preview button, it does take you to the Milestone section, or it should. Maybe my link is broken, that's weird. Okay, so normally you just click on this and it takes you there, but apparently not. So if we go the old-fashioned way through the milestone selections, another thing that's broken in this game, we do get the Midnight Madness and the New Moon Milestone. Now, the Midnight Madness is all to do with Alliance raiding, so characters that you're going to need to use the Nocturnal trait for raids in order to clear this. So we can get a preview of this, and basically, it's very, very similar to the Red Guardian Milestone, the Red Guardian Alliance Milestone. I forget the name of that limited time trait, but you needed to do basically the exact same thing and use the limited time trait characters in your raids. So you're going to get a handful of Moon Knight shards on top of the Orb fragments, which is called the Eternal Night Orb, alongside other random goodies, some purple catalyst stuff, some ABCs, some superior basic catalysts, and some purple training modules. There's actually more purple training modules this time around, a little bit more than there was in the Red Guardian event. So I guess that was part of Scopely's promise in their blog post related to extra training modules in various forms. So basically, and I'm going to get to that in the spreadsheet, sorry, I didn't mean to cancel out of there. So the scoring is very similar to the mechanism for the Red Guardian event. So it's a win or lose raid battle with Nocturnal characters 7, and then 2 for any raid battle. So you're going to want to shove as many Nocturnal characters into a raid battle as possible. Now for my alliance specifically, we're probably going to be dumbing down our Ultimates from Ultimate 7.4 to Ultimate 7.1, just to make it easier for some of the characters that are available for use in Ultimates. When it comes to the Greek raids, you know, some alliances do the Greek level 3, some do even 2, you know, because I think the 2 actually has no traits at all, so it makes it a lot easier to run. I think possibly in the Greek 3s it might also be less traded, so it might be easier to do that as well. I don't really remember. I think we're going to try and stick with beta 4 regular and then just see how we get on with that. But also for the Orb Opening one, the Orb Opening Milestone, the New Moon, very, very similar. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's identical to the Red Guardian event as well. There's a total of number of shards, which I do have calculated on my spreadsheets. What has changed a little bit is that there's, I think, a little bit more on the G15 minis. I think there's 1 extra for all of them, and then there's also the Armory 15 orbs, which are somewhat newer. They were, I forget, the Showtime currency might have been the first event that had this, and so there's a total of 6 of them for this, and then 6 times I think 4 G15 minis, so I think that's 24 extra random G15 minis that you'll get from that. Otherwise, the drops are very similar in terms of the Red Guardian event for G14s, I believe, and all the orange stuff and the purple stuff that are in here. So nothing exciting there. So let's double over. Oh, and I do want to mention, sorry, there is a third milestone. That's going to be a daily reoccurring milestone that's specifically for Blitz and Arena, and we're going to get over that when we do the math portion, but it is not available here, so we won't actually see it until the event actually starts. But there is another milestone, and we will go over that in the spreadsheet portion. So let's go over the Nocturnal characters that we can use for this event, and there's a total of 30 of them, I believe, but in terms of who you're going to want to use for raids, it's a bit tough for newer players, I think. So just to look at the top of my roster, you can see that there's actually a decent range of characters that you might use at the top end, sort of in the end game. We have Thanos, Corvus Glaive, and Proxima. I know Black Order isn't really a raid sustain team, but there's 3 of them available here. Black Bolt, he's a very strong character for raids. Hela, Doc Ock is not usually used in raids, but I mean, he is viable for a little bit. Venom and Carnage, part of the symbiotes here. So there's kind of like half of teams here. There is Loki as well as part of the Asgardians. So Hela and Loki, and then you have Carnage and Venom, and then Doc Ock, and then three Black Order. Well, Thanos isn't really Black Order, but he technically is. Black Bolt. I don't know if there's any other Asgardian Inhumans in here. I don't think so. But when you get to the, and there's Ultron as well. But when you get to the bottom and you look at who's available for sort of early game players, some mid game players, it's not very great. I mean, you can see at the bottom here, you got Moon Knight. I mean, once you do unlock him, Nebula, Vulture, Deadpool, Korath, Mordo, Elektra, all the Shadowland characters. Toad, you know, these aren't really typically characters that you would want to use in raids. So not a lot of them are very good. You might use Ghost Rider, you might be able to squeeze that in. Black Widow, you might be able to squeeze that in if you have Wave 1 Avengers. Taskmaster, X-23, there is some sustain here, Wolverine and X-23. Karnak, there was another Inhuman there, Mystique, you know, none of these are, especially this bottom 17 characters, I really wouldn't use in raids. You could probably get away with Swarm and Doc Ock, you know, and Loki and Hela, and like anyone in my roster, basically Loki and beyond, you could probably, and Ghost, you could probably make some argument to use them in raids, but the choices aren't really amazing. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try and probably make some weird combo between Thanos, Black Bolt, Hela, you know, as a base, 3 Doc Ock, 4 and Ultron, I think is what I might end up doing for my Ultimate 7s, and try to make that work. You know, at least until we clear the milestone, and then after that, you know, I can go back to doing the normal rating again. But yeah, it's not the greatest of selections here. Let me know in the comments below what you guys plan to take for this for raids, because I can't really suggest, you know, obviously it's dependent on what you guys have in your roster, but I can't really make huge suggestions on this. Obviously, if you're not doing a full 5 Nocturnal trait team, then, you know, feel free to use your symbiotes as normal, with Carnage and Venom being the only real one that has that. You know, feel free to use your Inhumans or Black Bolt hybrid, Thanos Black Bolt hybrid possibly, that you might use for raids. In terms of early and mid game suggestions, I don't really have any, because these are really awful characters for the most part. You know, Mordo and Ghost Rider might be able to have some sustain, I don't know. You know, none of these characters down below. Night Nurse. This brings me back to my Ultimates 5, Ultimates 6 days when Night Nurse was actually used for raiding, and that's probably why she was where she was in terms of power, because this is where I left her. But other than that, I can't really recommend any of these. So this is going to be a bit challenging, I think, to clear from an Alliance perspective if you're sort of on the lower end of the TCP scale and you don't have basically this half of the roster available to you, because these are some of the better characters available for this event. So yeah, let me know what you guys plan to do, and we'll just have to hope and try and get through it all together. So I just wanted to go through this really quickly before we do end up going to the spreadsheets, which we're going to do now, and I'm going to explain to you guys how and what you need to do in order to clear the event completely free to play and pick up those Moon Knight shards. Alright, and so here we are in the spreadsheet section of the video. Now, I just want to say that this is going to be made available in the description below in case you want to look at this on your own time afterwards, so you don't have to keep referring to the video if you don't want to. So, this is going to be for the Crescent Crescendo milestone to start, and I did take some of this from the Red Guardian event. Now, I'm assuming that it's going to be similar in terms of the amount of days, which we are looking at 12 days. That's what it was for the Red Guardian event, so I'm kind of assuming that it's going to be very similar for the Moon Knight event, because everything else so far that I've seen in terms of the milestone points and all of that has led me to believe this. Now, there's a total of 30 Nocturnal characters that you can use. That is including Moon Knight. So I did have this set up based on how many Nocturnal characters you might have available for the Blitz portion, and so whether or not you have 10, 20, or 30 Nocturnal characters available. Now keep in mind, of course, this is only assuming that you're going to be using Nocturnal characters in your blitzing, but you're most likely going to be just doing all of your teams probably, so you're going to get quite a few additional points as well. So you do get 4 points for winning a Sim Blitz in general, but if you do use Nocturnal characters and you lump 5 Nocturnal characters into one group and you just win that, you're going to get a total of 44 points. So that's 8 times 5 for 5 characters, plus 4 gets you 44 points just for lumping up 5 Nocturnal characters together and winning a Sim Blitz that way. I do believe that there was actual additional points, a little bit more if you did manual blitzing, but for the purposes of this video, and a lot of people are going to be sim blitzing, that's why I primarily use it with this points in mind. Now, basically, you're probably not going to get close enough to clear the daily blitzing if you don't have at least 20 Nocturnal characters. Now, where I have here in the orange, and this is basically 6 rotations with 20 Nocturnal characters, you'll probably make up a little bit of extra points by using non-Nocturnal characters as well. You know, one rotation of, let's say, 20 extra teams is going to get you like 80 points, and because there's a lot of characters in the game, you can realistically probably run, if you have all of them available to you in the game, probably around 30 or so sim blitz runs. But you're only going to get 4 points for each of those wins outside of the Nocturnal characters. So you are going to need to do quite a few if you only have 20 Nocturnal characters available to you. The reason why this is in orange here is because you could reasonably make up the rest of the points. You need 1600 to clear the daily milestone, assuming it's the same as Red Guardian. You could get up to 190 from Arena, and then the rest you'd have to make up for non-Nocturnal Blitz character rotations. And I will go over the Arena really quick here. So you normally would get 3 for just a regular Arena battle. This is pretty garbage. 7 with a Nocturnal character. So a full Nocturnal, if you just want to screw your matches, then most likely you're not going to be able to win with them. Although, you know, if you're running Black Order, you might get a few extra points there to be able to make it up. But I mean, 38 points for a full Nocturnal match. You know, if you did 5 full Nocturnal matches, Arena matches, screwing your Arena rank, you would get 190 points. So 190 plus these 1056s plus extra blitz wins from non-Nocturnal characters, reasonably you could finish it as 6 rotations of 20 characters and 4 rotations with 30 Nocturnal characters. Now, the green is basically you're pretty likely to clear it on that day, but this is 8 rotations of 20 Nocturnal characters, or a little bit safer here on 30 Nocturnal characters, assuming you're late game and basically have most of them unlocked and most of the roster unlocked at this point. Then you can reasonably probably clear it with only 4 rotations a day. But you're going to have to do this every single day, because this does reset every single day, and for the 12 days of the milestone. Now, this is assuming that none of the points change, and this is very similar to the Red Guardian event. They may change the point values for the Arena a little bit. I mean, that might be subject to change, but I think they'd probably keep the same Blitz point style. I don't really see that changing at all. And 1600 was the total points required in order to clear this. Now, what do you get usually per day? Now, this is a total of 12 days, and so I kind of just stacked them all up. So you do get 84 ABCs total over those 12 days, 36 purple stat catalysts, 144 superior basic catalysts, 36 orange stack catalysts, some random gear credits and blitz charges, and 16,200 eternal night fragments. Now I just kind of copied that from the Red Guardian event, and 48 moon shards. It was 4 Red Guardian shards per day, so I kind of assume it's going to be 4 moon Knight shards per day. And we're also going to be getting some eternal night fragments to open these unique orbs over the course of the various various blitzes, as well, because normally it's included in the milestone. But we're going to get to that when we jump over to the second part of the milestone, and this is going to be the Midnight Madness Raid Alliance milestone. This is wrong, I should say Nocturnal Seasoned. So Noc is actually Nocturnal, rather. I still have that from the Red Guardian event. So this is all up on MSF as well, so you can actually see this in the game right now. So if you win or lose a raid battle with a Nocturnal character, you get 7 points. If you win or lose with any character, you get 2. So 7 times 5 plus 2 gets you 37 points here. And if you do 10 raid attacks and ultimates, and you times that 37 by 10, you know, you're going to get 370. But this is assuming that you're going to be using a full Nocturnal team. Now, this is specifically to Ultimates, because this is more likely that you might be able to do this, although I admit that the characters, like I said, are kind of sketchy, so whether or not you actually do this is a completely different story. So I'm also assuming that we're going to be running this through beta, and I think partially in gamma, maybe. So I'm only assuming that you might be able to run 2 Nocturnal characters, because this is going to depend on what lane you're in and how many characters you can fit in from the Nocturnal trait in your Greek raid lane. So if you do at least 2 Nocturnal characters, you're going to get 16 points, and if you do 10 attacks in that Greek raid, you should reasonably be able to get 160 points. So that 160 plus the 370 from Ultimus would get you roughly 530 points for yourself towards the Raid Alliance milestone. Now, if everyone else did the same thing, if everyone did at least this, you could multiply it by 24, assuming that you have a full 24-man alliance, and you would come up with 12,720 points for a single day. That should be, you know, where reasonably you should be able to get. I know not everyone in your alliance is probably going to get this, but this is reasonably where you could get to. Now, if you did this every single day, the total points needed for that milestone is 93,000. Reasonably, you should be able to get it done in about 7.31 days, and that's pretty good, because if it's a 12-day event, that actually gives you quite a bit of wiggle room that, you know, some people can carry more than others, or, you know, some people can do a little bit less in terms of activity. A lot of this is going to vary between your alliance and how much activity there is in your alliance and what characters you have available to use for raids from the Nocturnal trait, which admittedly is not the best, and when we get to Greek raids, it probably is a bit more of a struggle there as well. So you can kind of see that, and the total rewards from this includes 10,000 Eternal Night Orb fragments. This is roughly 5 Moon Knight Orbs, 6,000 gear credits, 45 ABCs, 70 SBCs, 15 purple stack catalysts, 155 purple training modules, sorry. It doesn't really matter. Training materials, training modules. This is actually an increase, I think, of like 30 or so from the Red Guardian event, so they did up this a little bit, and 12 Moon Knight shards. So in terms of the overall picture, the Moon Knight shards themselves aren't a ton, you know, and the actual, I expect the orb to be really crap anyways, because I remember from the Red Guardian event that the drops were not stellar in there. I think I was lucky to get, most of my alliance was lucky to get 4-star out of that, if they even got that. You should be at least be able to get an unlock though. So moving on to the actual Orb Opening milestone, this is the New Moon milestone. The numbers are very similar to the Red Guardian event. So you do get 600 points for every Eternal Night Orb that you open. Now the orbs that you're getting from the Raid milestone as above is 4 points. Actually, it's 5 now. It's 5. Yeah, that was actually a little bit different. So there was a little bump up actually from the previous event, from the Frozen event. Points from the Raid milestone orbs, so 5 times 600 gets you 3,000. The orbs from the daily milestone, now you're going to get about 8.1, I think it is. This is the fragments from the, actually no, wait, hold on, so let me move that over. Was that accurate? Yeah, you're getting a total of 8.1 orbs here from the daily milestones, and that equates to basically 4860 points if you multiply it by 600. And we should reasonably be able to get at least 2 orbs from each of the Blitz milestones coming on Thursday, or today as of the video, Monday and Thursday. Now I forget how many actually might come from the Sunday orb assaults. I think there might be 1 or 2 there, so actually this is a little bit conservative in terms of the numbers here, so do keep that in mind, that you might actually need a little less blitzing during these milestone periods. So the points from these orbs gives you about 3,600. This might be a little bit different later on. So if you subtract from the total points that you need for this milestone is 37,300, but if you subtract all of these numbers from above, you actually only need to get about 25,840 points. Now what does that mean? That's roughly about 39 orbs that you're gonna have to farm. Now if you guys remember from the Red Guardian event, that basically you get these fragments through blitzing. Every time you blitz, you know, you're going to get 50, 70, I think it's 50, 100. I forget all the different variations of the drops from the fragments, but basically you're going to need to farm about 39 total orbs in order to clear this entire milestone. Now, basically I have a worst case scenario farming here, and that's assuming that you're going to get anywhere between 50 to 100 per blitz win when you do this. I kind of just went down the middle and I said 75 fragments per blitz win, so that means that roughly you're gonna need about 27 rounding up blitz wins in order to get an orb. And so this makes it easy math. Here you just multiply these together and you get a total of 1,035 blitz wins that you need to do in order to get the orbs that you need to farm. This should actually say 39, not 40, so that needs to change. And so the maximum blitz wins that you need to do per day, given the 12 days of the event, is about 86 total. Now this is assuming 12 days of the event. So if this changes, then this number will change a little bit. So depending on how many teams you have in your roster, that'll tell you how many rotations that you'll need to do in order to get this much amount. And so realistically though, I mean, if you had assuming you have like 30 blitz teams available here, like I said, times 6 rotations, you know, this is the It should say 8 rotations because you can actually... why is my numbers off? Because you can actually do 8 free-to-play rotations, so I don't know why this is here. My numbers maybe are a little bit off. Maybe I should have double-checked this here. I don't know why it says 6. Why did I say 6? Because you can actually do 8. Doesn't really matter here. So all this is to do with the maximum amount of blitz wins that you could do free-to-play. This is to do without dropping, with dropping, and without dropping tiers here. Need to change my... I should have done this beforehand. My apologies, guys, but the numbers are realistically the same. What you need to know is this number here. So I should have put this in the red here. This is basically the max amount of blitz wins that you will need to do per day in order to clear this event for this orb opening milestone. So basically, you know, you can do this in a reasonable amount of time. If you want to just spam out your blitzes, it's not too bad. So this part of it, if you're someone who loves to do a lot of blitzing, then it actually doesn't really make too much of a difference because, you know, you should be able to clear it. Where it is going to run into some problems, though, I think, is if you're kind of on the newer player side and you don't really have as many characters to run through blitz rotations, or you're kind of forced to manual blitz. God, if you have to do manual blitzing in order to clear this for the orb fragments, at least for this portion of the event, I do like the fact that we do now have sim blitzing, because these types of events on purely manual would be hell, personally. But at the end of the day, what do you get from the total rewards from the orb opening milestone? Well, you'll be getting 68 Moon Knight shards, 3,000 gear credits, I'm pretty sure that's still accurate, 35 ABCs, 15 purple stat catalysts, 110 SBCs, 50 orange stat catalysts, a random collection of G14 minis, 3 of all G15 minis, 5 armory G15 orbs, and 6 armory G14 orbs. Okay, so this is, like I said, very similar to the Red Guardian event, so I wouldn't be overly too concerned about it. Where you might want to be concerned a little bit might be the Nocturnal raid traits for, the Nocturnal trait for raiding. That might be a little bit difficult because, like I said earlier on in the video, they're not the best collection of characters. So, I hope you guys do well, and I hope that you guys unlock Moon Knight. I hope I unlock Moon Knight. I hope I get some shards for him, but realistically, I don't have good res stars, as you guys know if you followed my channel and you saw my Moon Knight res star orb opening. So, you know, as long as I get him and I get him to a reasonable level, I would love to get him at least a 4-star, so that way I can buy some res star upgrades in the future. But we'll see how things go. RNG, of course, you know, the orbs probably aren't going to be great opening these nocturnal orbs, or whatever, eternal night orbs, so we'll see how things go. But that's the end of this video, guys, and I hope that was helpful for you thinking about what you need to do for this event in order to get Moon Knight unlocked and get some shards for him. And of course, until next time, guys, stay safe, and I'll see y'all later. Boylon signing out.